Sup, you fools? Matt is United, your favorite Eurovision channel. Yes, I am back after a couple of weeks being away. I know, I'm sorry, right away, but I am back to talk about the Eurovision news of the week. Hi everyone, we're just gonna wait a few seconds as everyone is joining the chat. And in case this is the first time joining us, this is how it works. It's fairly straightforward. I am Matt with ESC United. This is Mattitude, your Eurovision news show. Weekly every day, that doesn't make sense. Weekly Saturdays at 7 p.m. Central European time, and we're doing what we always do, is discuss the news of the week and then answer your question as they are coming in. So this is always a lot of fun, and hopefully you're going to enjoy it once again. And I will not spend too much time with the introduction because there are a few things that happened over the past week that we all should talk about. In case you're wondering, there will be maybe some banging sounds in the back. Apparently our construction roofers and all of that's decided to work on a Saturday, and it's only 10 o'clock here in Los Angeles. So if you hear that, just ignore it, it'll stop. So first of all, I just want to say hi to everyone in the chat. I know there are a lot of names. I cannot just say hi to everyone. I see ESC Dimpop right there. Charlotte Carson is there. Hi from Britain. How are you doing? And HCB Wrestling. All right. So I'm a former WWE fan. So I know that I'm anything against it, but I'm no longer watch it. Anyway, what we're going to do here, as I pointed out, I will talk about what happened this past week. Then we'll move on to some Q&A. What I will do after each section, I will stop. So I will answer your questions because there's a lot of happening in the chat. I'll keep an eye on it as much as humanly possible, and then you can just ask your questions. Do me one favor, when you ask questions, make sure to use @ESC United. That way they will stand out, and I know they're not just regular chatter, but they're actually questions directed at me. So make sure to do that. Of course, super chats are always answered right away. That is definitely a priority, but it's not a requirement, right? So we'll dive right into it, and then we'll go from there. So the first thing we're going to talk about is we'll just see what's going on with the hosting situation. We all know Israel is going to host the contest in beautiful Tel Aviv, and things are slowly coming together. We still have ways to go, so I'm not saying that this is all said and done here. But basically, I'm not sure if you paid attention, but there are a few more news about the tender process and the stage in particular. So there has been a news about Khan, which is the Israeli broadcaster, and the European Broadcasting Union, the EBU, the intentions for the Eurovision 2019 stage. They made some announcement this past week. Both parties together looking for an iconic design. Yes, I'm putting that in air quotes because you never know what that really entails. A stage that has an Israeli identity, is considered unique and different and just basically groundbreaking. I like the language that they're using. Of course, it could be just words. They don't mean anything, but it sounds as they're really going for something. It also asked the tender to be, and that is interesting, better than the stage in Lisbon. Yes, apparently the broadcaster has been quite vocal about their dislike for the stage in Lisbon. Actually, they criticized it a lot, in particular that it was kind of boring and dull and that there were no LEDs. So it was just not a beautiful stage. That's basically what they're saying. That leads me to believe that we are going to have LEDs in Tel Aviv. A lot of you people asked for it. I'm going to ask a few more questions about that in just a little bit, about you guys, what you're thinking. But so basically, to avoid that kind of situation, they have been very specific and very detailed in their requests when it comes to the stage, asking the stage designers that they ask not just people in Israel, but they also ask foreigners to submit their tenders, if they will, and their designs. And in case there is like a tie between two equally awesome designs, then the one that is coming from Israel will take the cake. That is basically the rule that they have. But they also said if someone from outside of Israel sends the best design, people have to put their patriotism aside just for the moment. So it's going to be very interesting. They're definitely in it to impress, and I'm all in favor of that. What else? So we don't know everything. We just know bits and pieces in here. But as we hear, they have great expectations, and in particular, they want this design to be very versatile, and every song supposed to be, or the stage should look different for each song. And that is quite a promise, I guess is the lack of a better word. So we have to wait and see if they're going to come up with that. And as you know, the arena itself, Pavilion 2, that's where the venue is and where Eurovision will take place, is not that big. They think about 9,000 seats, so there is no way that they can put the green room inside the arena. So they're going to have Pavilion 1 host the actual green room. So, and that is also currently working on the design. So there's a lot going on as far as that is concerned. They will also have like an audience in the green room. They did something similar in 2013 in Malmö. I was actually in the green room for the second semifinal. I was sitting in the loser area where San Marino, FYR Macedonia, Switzerland, we were all in that corner. So everyone around me didn't qualify. Oh, we were just like, we got to get out of here. This is highly depressing. So, yeah, they have a bunch of other requirements that they posted. For instance, the stage should allow for a 200-degree minimum view. So that is something, of course, the standard things that you expect, you know, accessible, easily traversed by camera and stage crew members, proper lighting and LED screen installations, and have a hidden area for the backup vocalists, either in front of the stage or to the left or right. So to the side. So the backup singers, unless requested or required by the broadcaster, will not be on stage. I think that's here to stay. In Lisbon, if you weren't there or you were just watching it on TV, the actual backup singers, you could see them if you were in the arena left to, well, it's technically right to the stage, but if you look at the stage, it was to your left. There was a little box where you could see like the silhouettes of them. Basically, it was pretty dark. So they were visible to the people in the arena, but not on camera. So they're going to stick with that. And apparently they have an ample space for a parade of nations to occur from opposite ends of the stage. So we're going to have that really neat, you know, Olympic Games kind of intro where they all come in waving their flags. I love it. I love it. I love it. Hopefully they'll keep that in place. And of course, be adaptable to security requirements of the hall. And if we know something about Israel, we know they know how to do security. So I think we're good to go on that. In case you're wondering, the process for submissions will be open through October. And then in November, they'll decide on what to do. And they're saying a detailed plan about the stage design can be expected between December and February. That is a huge window, but at least we know they are in the works. So feel free now to post your questions. And again, do it at ESC United or Super Chat. And my personal thoughts on this, I am really excited. I wasn't as upset about the stage in Lisbon. I do appreciate that the acts had to be a little bit more creative with the props and what to do. At the same time, I did miss the LEDs. So hopefully they will... I hope that LEDs will not be the sole source of creativity, if you know what I mean. But we shall see. We shall see. I am just glad that the Israeli team, the broadcaster Khan, they are so into it. And that gets me excited. I'm sure we're in for a really good show. Flavius97 asks, what do you think of the comeback of the LED screens? We'll have another selfie feast. As I just pointed out, I am in favor of LEDs returning. I can live every few years without the LEDs like Lisbon did. I'm not as harsh about the stage. The stage itself was not as pretty per se, but I did like the fact that people had to be more creative when it comes to how I'm going to stage this. And that was fun to me every once in a while. But I get it. LEDs, they can add so much. I mean, Stockholm looked amazing. So I'm really excited about it, but hopefully, as I pointed out, they're not just going to rely on those LEDs. Eurovision Factor asks, how do you think of Australia's national final will work? Eurovision Factor, I'm going to get back to the question just a little bit, because next up we're going to talk about updates when it comes to national finals and all of that. So just hang in there for a second. So, HCB Wrestling, have you listened to Switzerland's list for Eurovision 2019? I know that the Swiss songs have been released, and I briefly listened to them. I just didn't have time to do a video on it because in case you're wondering why I wasn't around, I had family in town. And for 3.5 weeks, my brother from Germany was visiting, so I kind of had to spend some time with him. So, I listened to them briefly, but I just didn't have time to do a whole long video. All right, let's see. The Sneaky Hider asks, do you think it would be a good idea for a former The Voice participant from the Netherlands, like Jim van der Zee? This is a tough question for me to answer. Here's my honest opinion. I personally don't like The Voice. I don't like idol shows. I don't like X Factor shows. These shows are dumb, contrived, and just staged to a certain extent that I just don't. Manipulative when it comes to emotions. Not for me. Not for me. That being said, there are a lot of talented people on that show. So if that person is good, bring it on. Bring it on. But just the fact that he was on one of those shows, that should not be a deciding factor. So that's where we're at right now with the updates when it comes to the stage. If you have any questions about the stage or Israel hosting in general, post your questions now. If not, we'll come back to it later at the very end. So we'll go for that. I see there are a lot of questions when it comes to national finals. Hold your horses. Hold on. I'm going to talk about the participants. We're going to talk about the national final update. We'll get all into that. I know this is the very exciting part because now we're finally getting information from left and right about this. So I am thrilled. Francesco Sanfilippo said, are you planning something new to improve your coverage of 2019? Improve. It was perfect. No, of course we're going to improve. It really depends on how many people we are. The problem with Lisbon was we had limited resources. Lisbon had a small press center, and we only, instead of 7 people, we only had 5. So we had to work with 5 people, and that was tough. That was so difficult. So if we get more people, we can do more. But yes, we have a lot of things in place, and it's still early. We're still in the early stages of working on it, but you can trust us. There will be a lot of content, videos, of course. That's what my area of expertise is. But of course, reports, social media, and you name it. It's going to be awesome. Do you think that they are going to put this logo, celebrate uniqueness? ESC Dimpap is asking. That's not very catchy, and I don't think they're going to use the word celebrate, which is something we just had, right? So I don't think they're going to celebrate uniqueness. I'm sure they're going to come up with something. I have no idea. I should sit down and write out a few suggestions about what slogan to use. I haven't really thought of that. Slogans to me personally are not quite as relevant. It's cool, I like those that are make really good hashtags. Like hashtag join us, that was good, even though it was fairly simple. Okay, so one last question. Suruli Kazan said, hi mate, what kind of slogan would you like to see? Inclusive. I'm all about inclusive. I don't like slogans that are, granted, join us is a little vague, so I just pointed that out. But I like it was effective in that sense, how they used it with this logo and all of that stuff. I like things that are unique, inclusive, not too patriotic, not in-your-face patriotic, because, there should be a little bit more diversity there. So it's tough. I know, usually the slogans are just fairly yappy fun, and they don't mean that much to me. So just something catchy, I guess. That is what I'm looking for. Anyway, let's move on, because there are so many updates over the last few days when it comes to, a week I should say, when it comes to, let me move this picture aside, to the national finals. Let's start with Germany. I'll go for all of them. So let's see what we have here, the updates. So Germany, as you know, their show is called Unser Star. I speak German, I can't even pronounce it anymore. So we got a lot of information about the process, and I'm not going to go into all all the details, just what has transpired over the last week or so. So basically following the details of the complex preparation for Germany's Unser Lied, now they're getting ready for the workshop. The workshop is getting ready, and basically what the idea is behind that workshop is they're trying to get a final list of singers that will then be in the national finals, and they will then go through the actual songwriting camps. They will work with songwriters, and then they pick a song that suits their voice, their style, and all of that. They've done that this year in 2018. They will continue that in 2019. A few changes coming up. In the end, actually, they're going to have 8 to 10 acts. We don't know if it's going to be 8 or 10 acts actually taking part, will be chosen to then move on to the workshop stage. In 2018, we only had 6 due to the very, success of Germany's Michael Schulte in beautiful Lisbon. They figured, let's elaborate on that. Let's do that. And that's exactly what's happening. But all these acts that are currently trying to take part in the national final, they will submit their clips, their 90-second clips, showing their vocal capability, their style, and their personality. And then jurors will select between 8 and 10 of them. And as said, that's how they will move on. And in a few months, we'll have a few songs. So they're going through the process right now. It's a long, long process. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Moving on. Who else do we have? Oh, yes. Portugal. So, Portugal, let's take a look here. Oh, there's the flag. I don't know why it didn't come up before. I had a German flag as well, but it didn't show up. So, the broadcaster has confirmed that they will return with Festival de Canção. If you heard about that, if you're a Eurovision fan, you know what it is. They've been using that for a very long time, and it's a popular, I guess, national show in Portugal. But it is also, according to a lot of people, slightly outdated, right? The songs are a little bit like on the old-fashioned side, which sometimes is reflected in the style or like the result at Eurovision for Portugal. Granted, they just won in 2017, so that one time, right? As they say, broken clock is right twice. But yes, that's what they've been using, and they announced they will continue to do that. It will follow a similar concept as in previous years, right? So 14 composers will be asked to submit entries chosen by the broadcaster, RTP, and then a couple of other ones you can send in. But they made a promise to us, a very important promise. And the promise is that they're going to add a greater diversity amongst the songs. This is what we all have asked for a very, very long time, right? Because yes, they have these songs, Salfado, or whatever, and it's great. But at some point, give us something, because at some point they all just sound the same, and you can't figure out what is what. So I am thrilled to hear that they are trying to introduce a little bit more greater diversity and new music styles. So that's even more important. Maybe get some more pop. Maybe we get some jazz. Maybe we get some hip-hop. Who knows? I'm just thrilled that they're trying to switch it up a little, and maybe this will be the rebirth of Festival de Canção. So that's what they're working on right now, which is really exciting. Okay, I had all these cool flags up, but now they're not working. So I'm going to take it off. Give me 1 second. It was to be a slideshow, but the slideshow said, nope, not going to happen. So let's talk about Iceland. Iceland. So RUV. That's the national broadcaster in Iceland, and the show that they have in Iceland, they're going to continue its, I'm going to butcher this so badly, Söngvakeppnin. So, as you know, Iceland hasn't done really well at Eurovision lately. The last 4 years, they have failed to qualify. The last one that saw the finals was in 2014, right? Yes, I had to think there even for a second. So, they know that things are not working out. They're not. So, they're making also a few changes. The big ones is obviously they will reduce the songs. There will only be 10 entries, and I think in previous years they had 12. 5 in each semi, and then the top 2 from each semi will move on along with a wild card, which means most likely we will have 5 songs in the finals for Iceland. That itself is not that different from what they've done before, except for the fact that they have a lower number. But what has changed is now the broadcaster will also reach out to experienced and popular songwriters to make a few songs and also select songs that you can send in, but they will have people actively working on it. So proactive, that is a good thing. And they also will have a special workshop. So they will go for all of that with recordings, the composers, the performers, to mold it together to make it look and sound right. That is what it comes down to. You have to have the right song for the right act. It needs to work. And in previous years, that just didn't happen for the most part in Iceland. And they're working in collaboration with the Icelandic Society of Authors and Composers, short ISAC. Or ISAC? Anyway, so that's the update from Iceland. Let's move on real quick. Estonia, Estilao. They've been using that for many, many years. I'm a big Estilao fan, and they will return. Right now, all we have about this one is that they opened the submission window so people can send in their songs. Interest singers and songwriters, they have until November 6th, so exactly a month from today. So within the next 30 days, songs will go in there, and that you have to do it online, and then they'll start the selection process of the song. So we're still early on in the Estilao process, but at least we know it's happening. Let's move on to Australia. Australia, we all know, needs to be invited by the EBU to take part, and they received the invitation and accepted it. So we'll see Australia in Tel Aviv, and they said that we should expect news within the next month or so. What? Yes, they said within the next month. That is early. Australia, since they've joined the contest in 2015, they always had internal selections. Internally, they chose a song and an act, and then they send it to Eurovision. Does that mean there is a possible national final on the horizon? We heard some rumors. We heard some of that stuff. Maybe it's going to happen. I think that would be awesome. I mean, it's working for Australia in that sense. They've been qualifying every single year. But why not switch it up? I love national finals. The more, the merrier, right? So that's why we have Australia. More news to come. And another big one that I really got excited about. Sorry, I just get always giddy when I think about Croatia. Croatia will bring back Dora. Dora is coming back. For you new Eurovision fans, you may not even know what that is. But anyway, the Director General of HRT, his name is Kazimir Bacic. I don't know. Anyway, they will select Dora, the national final system, to select their entry for Eurovision. They used that one from 1993, since I first joined the contest, I believe, all the way up to 2011. It's iconic. It's amazing. I loved it so much, but they decided to go away with it after Croatia failed to qualify in 2010 and 2011. They're like, scratch this. It's not working. I'm like, oh, 2 years is not that bad. So anyway, but they decided, you know what? It's time to bring it back, and they are. And if anyone in Croatia, the people in charge are watching this, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I couldn't be more excited. It's a wonderful show. They usually have really good songs, different styles, lots of Balkan music, but modern music. It's a fantastic show, and I have high expectations. So yay. Let's move on. Switzerland. Switzerland confuses me, the whole process, because they have 29 national broadcasters. But no, so they are going away with that show, Die Große Entscheidungsshow, because it hasn't been working, right? The last time they qualified in 2014. Now they're going to basically do an internal selection. There's going to be, I think, 100 public members, like regular people just being selected, helping to pick a song, along with 20 industry experts, and they will all together pick songs. Now the broadcasters can provide a few songs. The Italian language broadcaster RSI has already picked 3 songs to put forward. I think they had initially 8 songs, and now 3 of them are still in the running. One of them is Sebalter, who represented Switzerland in 2014, the last time they qualified. He's trying it again with Carry the Light. He's still in the running. Also qualifying is Julie Mileta and Skilla Hess. Those three will be put forward by RSI, the Italian language broadcaster, and the German-speaking broadcaster SRF also has received over 100 submissions. They have not made them public yet. We don't know whether or not that's going to happen. They will have to pick their entries as well and put forward, and then eventually the jury will pick their entries. So that is where we're at. And the last thing is Lithuania. It's going to be really quick. Eurovisios is returning. If you know anything about Lithuania, they have the never-ending national final season. They have like, I don't know, 12 shows, 15 shows. Every single time it's like an elimination kind of thing. And then it's so confusing. I'm a diehard Eurovision fan, and I cannot even watch it. I can't. It's too much. But they said they're going to make a few changes. They will reduce the shows. Yes, they're only going to have 8 shows. Only. That's still a whole lot of shows for once a year. But hey, it sounds almost more manageable. I mean, if you think about it, Sweden, Melodifestivalen has 6 shows, so maybe 8 is a little bit more bearable. But that's what we know. They're going to go down to 8 shows. More details for the format have not been revealed yet, so stay tuned for that. So as you can see, that's already a lot of information in a short amount of time, and we can expect just more to come in next week, so make sure you be back next week. That means I will answer your questions, once again, at ESC United or Super Chats. They're always, the first ones to be answered. I'm really excited about this. Charlotte Carson said Eurovision only had 9 shows this year. Oh, really? Did that cut it down? Because last year they had way more, so I just can't do it. Eurovision Factors asking, do you think San Marino will take part? I will answer that in just a question. That is the next topic we're going to talk about. You're stealing my thunder. All right, who else has a question? Again, at ES United, Renata. I'm not going to be able to pronounce your last name. Greetings from you're from Lithuania. Well, welcome. Welcome. ESC Dimpap again. Which countries that don't use national final anymore do you want to see have again? Let's think. Netherlands, I want to say, but they've been doing so well without the systems that I don't want to discourage them. Let me think. I would love for Austria to come back, but also they've been doing so well with internal selections. Belgium, the same thing. I'd like Ireland to come back, but they've also been doing better with... No, they have an up and down since they stopped doing it. Yes, they did better last year. They finally qualified. 16th place isn't too shabby, but I think I want them to come back with the national final. Just a better one, not that late night show squeeze in. They need to have a proper national final. That is what I'm hoping for Ireland. I want Malta to return to their national final. This year they're going to do the Voice thing, which I'm not a big fan of. I don't like that idea at all. Hopefully they're going to go back to it to the normal way in 2020. So that is my hope. So those two come to mind right now. I would have to write them all down to actually address them all. Okay, let's see what other questions to be all. Barry Gold, do you remember? Of course I remember you, Barry. I'm not that old that I can't remember names. How you doing? How you doing? Hi Heist asks, who would you like to represent the United Kingdom in you mean in 2019? You said 2018. I assume you meant in 2019. I don't think they need to have a big name to represent them. That is not necessarily something I am that feel strongly about. Just send the national final itself needs to be improved. I'm glad they have it, so I don't necessarily have a specific name. Adele, no, I don't. So it's fine. I just want the best song, which they have not been picking. All right, so let's see what else we have before we move on. Tasha Lu, ESC asks, given that we're into October now, how long do you think we'll have to wait until the first artist and or song is announced? Very good question, and as a matter of fact, I was thinking about that earlier. I'm like, we don't have any names yet. I know that usually Austria announce the acts pretty early. So I could see that happening, them being the first one to throw a name out there. So we just have to wait and see. So I think, I hope we're going to get something by the end of the year at least. It's nice to at least have a name, get something excited about, right? It feels official when you have at least a name or something like that. So, but as far as if I would put my money down, I would say early December is when we get the first name. But I don't know. I need to drink something. I have a dry throat. All right, Ranovich says, do you think Israel will send a contender song as opposed to the last two hosts? Will Israel go for 2 in a row? Israel, as far as the Eurovision is concerned, they are competitive. They're not just in there to be like, yeah, let's just take part. No, they want to do well. And they will not send a whatever song. And to be fair, both Portugal and Ukraine, yes, they didn't do well as the host countries. I don't think they picked songs thinking, well, we're just going to send something that's not going to do well because we don't want to host it again. It was basically just, it didn't work in Eurovision. So I don't necessarily think that they went for a weak song just because they hosted. It just really kind of panned out that way. Israel will not just be like, let's just pick whatever. They'll do the best they can. They're going to have a national final now, which is really exciting. Jeffrey is asking, will you react to Junior 2018? Yes, I will react to them. I have not listened to any of the songs yet. I will probably wait until they're all known. I will make more of a review video at that point. So, but I'll promise you, I'm going to listen to them all. I'm going to do my reaction video. I'm going to listen to them live on camera to get my first raw, honest impression. And then we'll go from there. So, let's see here. Are you disappointed at Eurovision Asia not happening? I'm very disappointed by that, actually. I was actually really hoping that we would have another show. Maybe it'll happen eventually. But they're in the early stages. Whatever. I don't know. Do you think Tamar Kabrilian could represent the UK? I love her. I love her. I loved her song this year in Armenia. And it was a crime that she didn't even make it to the finals. In the national final. I don't know her ties to the UK, though. Because she is American, but with Armenian roots, right? So it makes sense that she represents Armenia. She's from my neck of the woods. Well, I think she's from Arizona, which is my neighboring state. I'm from California. Well, I live in California now. So that would be kind of interesting. I don't know how that would really pan out. But I say, why not, right? We have all these foreign acts take part in like Britain's Got Talent and all of that stuff. So why not in Eurovision You Decide? Am I right? So anyway, let me see if I have any other questions here. Meisterhood is saying, the UK has a new music consultant for the BBC. What are your thoughts on this? Meisterhood, I'm happy to hear that. I'm very happy to hear that. The music consultant, I thought that this year in 2018 they had some good songs, just not the right song one. So I think they're on the right path. What I'm more worried about is the process and the concept of the national final. Number one, they keep the results hush-hush. There's a 50% jury vote, a 50% televote. We don't know who voted for whom and if it was close and whatever. Don't hide it. It's just not right. It seems as they are manipulating it because the juries get the biggest say. I don't know. I hate that. I don't like that they have these jurors give their opinions about a performance because they boo-booed all the male vocalists and praised the women in certain songs, and that influences people. And I don't like when that happens. So they need to change the setup of the whole national final. That is more important to me. But I'm glad that they have a new person in charge there as well. So hopefully, I'm rooting for the UK. It's time for them to return to the left side of the scoreboard at least. That's a low bar, right? Okay, one more question and then I'll move on. Is Cyprus and Moldova going to be the new slaying countries in Eurovision? You know what? I like it when the smaller countries show some of the other. That's how you do it. Moldova has had 2 good results in a row, and Cyprus has been qualifying ever since they returned in 2015. So that is very, very possible. I wouldn't mind it. I think I would love to go to one of... Would Moldova host it, I wonder? I think I'm getting ahead of myself here, but that is a very interesting question. I have my cat scratching at the door here, so I'm going to let her in real quick. Get in. Kitty cat, come in. Okay, she's on the sniffing thing. Alright, she's in now. I'm going to close the door because the lights will hit my face. So, that is where we're at with the national final updates. Let's talk about the participants. Who is taking part? who is in and who is not. A lot is going to happen, and a lot has happened over the last week. And since I've been doing my last live stream, let's take a look at the list here. From as it appears right now, 38 countries have voiced their intent to take part. They technically still have the ability to pull out. Actually 39, but I'll go into that. For now, it's 38 that I feel fairly confident about them will be taking part. And if that were to be the case, that's already a good number. Got the lights going here. Because in 2014, we only had, 37 countries total. So already surpassed that. And I think there will be more, but 38 as of right now. Let's talk about the countries that currently have not confirmed completely yet, and then we'll talk about that. So two of the countries. So first of all, the Netherlands, Greece, Italy, they're all officially confirmed. None of them come as a surprise, but they all said, yeah, we're in. So these blinds are just shaking here right now. So the two countries that we haven't heard a beep from are Armenia and Moldova. Both of them I expect to return, especially Moldova. Are you kidding me? 2 top 10 results in a row? Yeah, they will be back. So no worries about them. Armenia, I expect them to be back as well. Yes, they didn't qualify last year, and they haven't had like a really, really good result. Well, 2016 was actually top 10, so they're in. I'm not worried about them either. So I'm pretty sure we'll have 40 with those two. Let's look at some of the other countries. Russia has not made an official announcement. They didn't qualify for the first time ever this year with I Won't Break. But I expect them to be back. No official confirmation, but several acts have already voiced their intent, or no, they desire to represent Russia. So there's certainly not a lack of people wanting to represent Russia. And Russia always is very hush-hush when it comes to participation, their stuff. They don't announce it until right until the deadline. I expect something similar. I'm pretty confident that they will be back. So don't worry about Russia too much. So that brings us up to 41 already. 43 countries have taken part in 2018. That means 2 are missing. Let's talk about these 2. One of them is San Marino. Initially, they said, we're back. We're going to use the 1 in 360 national final system, which we used in 2018. We're going to return to that and fix it. And then on August 28th, they said, it's uncertain whether or not we're going to use that system to select our song. Just hold off on that. We'll let you know. And then on September the 9th, which is just a little less than a month ago, the broadcaster SMRTV announced that they even haven't decided yet whether or not to take part in the contest. So it went from, 360 to, maybe not 360. Maybe we're not taking part. Okay, so that is not good news. That doesn't mean they're out. They're just probably trying to figure things out on the fly here, it seems. I'm still optimistic that they're back, but I would not consider San Marino as a guarantee at this point, unfortunately. And the other one is a little bit sad, is Ukraine. Ukraine also announced initially their intent to take part in 2019. Why wouldn't they, right? They're the only country left in Eurovision to never fail to qualify from the semis, except for Australia. But I do not count them just yet because they only had 3 qualifications, and that's not as impressive. But, at least those who've been here for a long time, it's the only country that never failed to qualify. And then on the 26th of September, it turned out that the broadcaster UAPBC said they are terminating all analog broadcast due to the lack of funding. That's bad. And the large amount of debt that they own the government. That is right. So they're going to stop that. That is definitely very concerning. That leaves their participation in doubt. I have no idea what's going to happen with them. This is the country I'm most concerned about right now. Countries always talk about, we don't know what to do, but when it comes to money, that is usually the most biggest deciding factor. If the money's not there, they may not take part. So I'm worried about Ukraine. I hope they will be able to pull it together and come up with the funding. They bring so much to Eurovision. They're so creative, and even when they have just whatever songs, they make them pop just by having amazing staging. So hopefully they're going to do the same thing again, and we can welcome them in Tel Aviv. So that is where we're at. So I feel confident that we're going to be at 41, between 41 and 43. I don't expect a returning country to take part. I think we already eliminated that in our previous live streams. And no debutantes. I don't think Kosovo, some people were talking about. Liechtenstein will not take part. Kazakhstan is unlikely. So I think we're talking about between 41 and 43 countries taking part. That's still a good, solid number. So we should be very excited about this. And I am, at least. So now you can start posting your questions again at escunited.com. Not at escunited, I mean. And as well as super chats, of course, if you want to support us. But that is not required. So let me take a look at a few of the questions that have been asked. Do you think Kazakhstan will participate in Tel Aviv? As I just mentioned in my quick recap, I don't think so. I think that Kazakhstan will take part in Eurovision in the near future. I do something, it'll be 2019. I think they'll let them take part in this year's Junior Eurovision to kind of get their feet wet and see how it's going to go. And I think if a lot of countries would have withdrawn from the contest, Iceland, Ireland, Australia, they all could have been potential withdrawals. Maybe they would have let Kazakhstan in to kind of fill one of those voids. But with almost every country returning right now, I don't see that happening. I think Kazakhstan will join the contest, maybe in 2020 or beyond. I just don't think in 2019. But if I'm wrong, I'm happy to be wrong. Very happy to be wrong. Do you want Greece to return with the Eurosong contest to choose our representative? ESC Dimpep is asking. I want Greece to have a proper national final. I mean, 2018 was a disaster. I mean, every single song was disqualified. And then Nairamu won by default, which was a great song, even though it didn't qualify in the end. It was a great song, so they elect out of that way. But Greece needs to have more structure. Structure! That's all I'm asking for. Let's see. Who do you think is owed a win? I don't think anyone is owed a win because you earn it. But if we really want to play those word games, I am going to say Italy. Italy has been number one, very consistent in what they present to Eurovision. Number two, it's a big country. They have plenty of money. They'll put on together a great show. Number three, I'm still peeved that they were robbed in 2015. They should have won that year. That was Italy's year, Il Volo. I'm still crying over that one. So that would be my country of choosing based on your question. I gotta drink more. Forgive me. Let's see what else we got, your questions. What do you think if the native language rule came back? Now, it'll never happen, but I just want to know your opinion. Hi is asking. Here's the thing. I believe in creative freedom, right? And that includes your choice of language. I don't want acts to be limited to singing in their own native tongue if that's not how they're performed. For instance, if you bring like the Common Linnets, right? They always perform in English. Ilse de Lang did English music, and now like, well, if you want to take part in Eurovision, you have to sing in Dutch. It's just not who they are as artists, and I do not want rules for that in place. I believe in let them do it and figure it out, but I do encourage. I'm a proponent of the languages, so I'm encouraging different languages at Eurovision. For the broadcaster to include when they have national finals, make it like you have at least this many songs in our native tongue and all of that stuff. I think that would be the best option, and let people decide what they want to send. But I don't want the rule. I agree with the rule being gone, but I am a supporter and encourage more languages at Eurovision. Let's see here. Who is the most successful small country in Eurovision besides Luxembourg and Monaco? Okay, well, I'm not going to count them as you said, since you told me to, and plus they're not taking part right now. This is a tough question. It depends on, first of all, what you define as a small country, like 1 million people and less. The I mean, you can say Estonia is a smaller country that has been doing fairly well. Yes, they had a roller coaster ride, but they have a couple of million at least, right? I don't know, in population. I'm totally outing myself here right now, being ignorant of that. Cyprus lately, yeah, you can consider Cyprus. They have a good amount of land, I guess, but they're a small country. So out of all the countries, Cyprus, I think, is the one that delivers the most. Yes, they had a second place, but since 2015, they have been qualifying every single year, right? Since they've returned, since they took that 1 year break. That 1 year break made all the difference. So that would be my answer for that. My Eurovision TV asks, what is your opinion about Sebalta and We Will Carry the Light for Switzerland? Do you like it, or do you prefer another song from the SRI? Sebalta's song was fine to me. I liked it, but it was not my favorite. There was this one woman, and forgive me, I forgot her name. She actually had 2 songs in the running, and I like both of her entries. She was my favorite. Both of her songs, actually, I really, really liked. So that would be my choice. So again, I see a lot of questions asked, but make sure you put at ESC United, because otherwise I will not see them. It's difficult for me to keep track on all of that. Could Lebanon ever participate? Well, they always took part in 2005, but as of right now, according to the laws, they cannot take part because they are not allowed to show anything broadcast. If Israel were to broadcast, they could not even broadcast that. So it certainly won't be this year, next year in 2019. But even beyond that, the only way for them to take part is if they either change their laws or Israel withdraws. And I'm not in favor of the second option, so it's got to be the first one. So I don't see it happening anytime soon. That applies to a lot of countries. So before I'm gonna head out, let me just ask answer a couple more questions, because that is all I had for the news this week. I thought there was a good amount already that's happening. It's just fun to me. Yes, we're all waiting for the songs, right? We're all waiting for who's going to represent what country, what song, and then we can judge them and take them apart. But I'm a dork. I like the statistics. I like all the things coming together. So I'm fascinated by the whole tender process, like who's going to bid on what and what's going to happen there. That is what I love the most, and not the most, but I'm really fascinated by it. So I'm really waiting for all the data to come in slowly from the national finals, from the hosting, from this and that. So I am enjoying this part right now a lot. And hopefully we're going to get more of that. Eurovision fan asks, save me or as I lay me down? Oh, Victoria's. In case you don't know what that means, Victoria took part in Melody Festival in 2016 and 2017 and to represent Sweden. And she didn't win, but she did well each single time. I love As I Lay Me Down. Done. But I like Save Me as well, but As I Lay Me Down was my favorite that year, by far. Crocs the Crocodile says, hope to meet you in Tel Aviv. If you are in Tel Aviv, you will meet me. Unless you avoid me. Because I'll be everywhere. Yes, I will be spending a lot of time in the press center. That's just how it goes, right? But I will be at the Eurovision Village. So I will meet up with people. So I'll be there. Don't you worry. Meisterhood is asking, is France in danger of going back to the old ways before 2016 as Grassi has been sacked? No, I don't think so. I mean, here's the thing. They have the system, your destination Eurovision, right? They can build upon that. And I'm not sure how involved Grassi was with even putting the national final together and picking the entries and all of that good stuff. I think they have a good handle on it. They're already improving it. Having the semifinals actually being live and not being recorded. And it all comes down to the song selection and just the execution. And that is what it comes down to. So I'm not too worried about that. I'm very hopeful. I think France found its footing, even though 13th place here wasn't like that impressive to some. I thought it was a good, solid result. So I think they are on the right track. Okay, are you going to watch X Factor Malta tomorrow? Viking Warriors asking. I will not. No, I will not watch the X Factor in Malta. As I pointed out earlier, I don't like X Factor. I don't like The Voice. I don't like any of these singing competition shows. It's just too contrived for me. I will watch it once they have actually the acts and the songs, if there is such a thing. But I don't enjoy an act perform a song from Ariana Grande for 90 seconds. It just doesn't do it for me. But that's just my personal opinion. Okay, HCB Wrestling is asking, why do you think Spain hasn't been doing well in recent years despite sending popular songs? HCB Wrestling, the thing is, they send popular songs in Spain, but I don't think they pick the right songs that have more of an international appeal. Tu Cancion, I like that song, right? So I'm not going to pick that one apart. But if you look at it more a broader appeal, I think La Mayo, that one would have been a better choice for international appeal. The year before, Do It For Your Lava, yes, it was an outrageous selection. But anyway, it should have been Corazon or the other one that I can think of. Not Psy, what was the other one called? There's another song called that I really liked. Ouch, not Psy. Ouch. Those two songs were way better. So it just needs to be the proper song selection. And then in 2016, Say Yay was a great song. I just think the execution was poor. So they just need to come together and come up with something that is much more effective. Tom is asking, how should the Norwegian Melody Grand Prix improve? I'm sorry, improve. The thing that I want to improve, how the juries reveal their highest score, although to not hurt anyone's feelings, I am a big proponent of transparency. And we need transparent results to see who voted for who and who was responsible for what. Who is moving on to the super final, and that is what they need to show us, the full results. I don't like it when they hide stuff. Eurovision fan says, do you think Slovenia should have qualified in 2012? 2012. Verjamen. Yes, they should have qualified. That was one of my biggest surprises. It just didn't click. I love that kind of music. I don't know what went wrong there. Sometimes, a song just doesn't translate well on camera. Maybe that is what happened there. But I'm still bummed out. That was a good song. Stephanie P says, what do you think Romania should do? Now, I read a little bit about Romania before. I didn't have time to put that in my review, but I think that they are kind of sticking to what they've done before, doing the tour through all the cities and then have the big Bucharest final. They need to fix the voting process. First of all, don't show the votes on the screen as they're voting. That's manipulative. And maybe have also a jury say in the grand final. Actually, the reason I'm saying is because the act Walking on Water, I forgot those two young kids, they made these tours through schools and high schools and all that stuff promoting their song, and all these kids were voting for them just because of that. That's not how it should work. And they need to come up with a better voting system and maybe cut down the number of songs, because that was a marathon. I watched all 5 shows, and there were just so many bad songs. It's like, why do you even bother? Why do you bother putting that out there? So those are my 2 suggestions. Fix the voting system and cut down the songs. What do you think about, ESC Veggie is saying, what do you think about the slogan, Feel the Passion? Isn't that a song from Albania in 2011? I like it. It's fairly vague, but it's just basically what all those slogans should be like. It should be just very inclusive and fun and just being into the song contest. So that would work for me. Absolutely. How would you feel about 3 semis, finals instead of 2? It's too much. 3 shows is already a lot. The rehearsals are 2 weeks long there, and that doesn't even include getting the stage up. That means we would have to have even a longer period. It just wouldn't work logistically, having 3 semis. Of course, as a fan, I would love it, right? I'm like, yes, do another semi, more countries, more fun. But I know a little bit more about being there and how it all works, it would be just a nightmare having to stage all of that. It is already very, very time-consuming, difficult, and stressful. So I don't think adding another semi would be in our best interest. There would then have to be more than just 1 week of Eurovision. And how many shows? You know, I was thinking of the broadcast, they have to put on another show there. So it's getting a little much. Jeffrey is asking, what do you think about the Big Five already being in the final if they get paid a lot but usually send bad songs except Italy? Hey! Germany just sent a really good song. They finished in 4th place. Here's the thing. I don't agree. I mean, I don't like the fact that they're pre-qualifiers. We all know why. Because they pay the most. And if those 5 countries were not to qualify, nobody would watch the show, right? The numbers would drop significantly. That would hurt the sponsorship. So it's all about money. So I get why they're doing it. It does feel unfair. And I wish they would get away with it. I don't think necessarily they would change their approach. Germany is trying right now. They're trying really, really hard. And I don't think it's for the lack of trying. It's just they just haven't figured things out. Maybe they're on the right path now after this great 4th place. Italy obviously is know what they're doing. France is on the right track. France has now Eurovision, Destination Eurovision. That seems to be an improvement. What else do we have? Spain is the one that's struggling the most, in my opinion, I think. Coming up with something. Now they're doing this Operación Triunfo. I don't know if this is working. Maybe it will. They just have to have better songwriters, or better songs for sure, and just a better system on how picking the song. It was just a big mess in 2018, unfortunately. It just was not greatly... The staging was bad. It was all just very last minute. So Spain needs to figure things out. And who am I missing? France, Spain, Germany, Italy. Oh, the UK. The UK, they're trying. I just don't think they're trying hard enough. I think that they have a lot of potential. They had a lot of potential this year, and I think they're on the right track. Not score-wise, but certainly effort-wise. So we have to wait and see. I really don't think it's the lack of effort. It's just the lack of understanding what people want, what works. So hopefully they'll get there eventually. Okay, I'm going to answer a couple more questions. I'm not sure I understand. And then we call it a night. Do you think logos should use other colors such as green, pink, white, yellow instead of overly used colors such as purple, blue, and red? Yes. Well, the thing is, I would love to see a few other colors. People, of course, need to pick something that looks appealing because colors evoke different emotions within people. Blue is calm, right? Red is energetic. So there is a reason why they use these colors. But I think they should be a little bit more playful with it. Use some orange, some brighter colors, you know, but then you always get into this could look tacky kind of area, and you want to avoid that. All right, so many questions. Thank you, everyone. I cannot answer them all, but I'll be back next week, of course. I'm going to ask 2 more. Neras Adam... Oh, gosh. Mauskas. Forgive me. What do you think about Lithuania's national final? Because there are like 50 songs, and 40 of them are usually bad. It was similar in other countries. I don't like the national final system a whole lot. I don't enjoy watching it for that reason. I'll watch as much as I can, but it is taxing. It is very exhausting. But I'm not a quitter. It is somewhat working because they have decent results. This year, 12th place. In 2016, they were in the top 10. Yes, they didn't qualify last year. But, they are not doing horrible. So it just seems as why bother with all these songs. So it's not my favorite national final. It's probably one of my least favorites. But I want Lithuania to do well because, I love Lithuania. I want Lithuania to win because Latvia and Estonia won. It's not their turn. Okay, then 1 more question. 2 more questions, actually. I keep saying that. I swear, it's 2 more questions and I'm done. Do you feel that the BBC fixed it in 2018 to make sure that they had a female performer? Liam and Jazz seem to get a lot of unnecessary criticism. Jordan ESC, I said the exact same thing. That's why I hated the jurors, and I was very vocal about it. A lot of people were mad at me for that, but I was just being very honest. I feel as they kept the numbers of male singers at a minimum, and they trashed them when they actually, to me, had the better songs. Well, actually, Legends was probably the best song, but I love both of the other songs, and they deserved way more praise. So it was a bad show. I'm sorry to say. And I'm hoping they're going to fix it. It does not matter if you send male or female. And certain countries send more females, other countries send more males, some people switch it up. Don't worry about the gender, just send the best song. And it bothers me when people get stuck that in their head. Because Hungary has been sending mostly guys, for the most part. But it's not because they don't like women, or it's just they had the better songs. And the last question is, do you think Malta will improve? Stefan, I hope. I don't know. They may this year because they're trying a completely different approach. I just don't like the approach this year with the X Factor setup. I don't like these shows, and I want people to take part. They need to come up with a better system selecting songs. And they need to have like a workshop, have people write songs that suit people's vocals and be a little bit more sophisticated. They need to do a better job with that and maybe not have as many songs. Just have maybe like 5 or 6 and then have 5 or 6 really good songs. The X Factor thing kind of worries me because then you have these acts performing and then at some point a song is being given to them that wasn't necessarily written with them performing it in mind, and that is always a dangerous, dangerous territory. So I'm not crazy about that. So, but I want Malta to do well because if I had to pick a country I want to see win next, it is Malta because I'm dying to go there. That's all I want to do. I want to go to Malta. So, thank you for all your questions. I asked more. We did more longer Q&A than I expected, but that is fine. Thank you for all your time, and I will be back next Saturday. Same time, 7 p.m. Central European time, but there will be plenty of other videos that are coming up in between, reviews. I will talk about news, so make sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't miss out, and I hope I'll see you all next week. Until then, have a good day, and let's party. I don't know, I need my own slogan. Anyway, have a good night.